welcome to Women for Trump Empower Hour. We're so excited to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to discuss the bold and decisive actions that President Trump has taken to protect Americans and bolster our economy. We'll also look ahead to November. While President Trump is focused on the health and safety of the American people, we here at the campaign and the RNC are committed to defeating the Democrats and how all of you at home can help us and join in this fight. So first, I want to welcome our guests today. We're joined by a couple of incredible women. First, Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel of the Republican National Committee, Chairwoman Laura Cox of the Michigan Republican Party, and Dr. Merlin Carson, who serves on our advisory board at Women for Trump. Ladies, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so Ronna, I'm going to start with you. Democrats like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are using this crisis to push through their job-killing agenda, to undermine the integrity of our election process, and to launch yet another bogus investigation of our president. Now, while we know that they won't let a crisis go to waste, why do Democrats insist on playing political games during a time like this, when really we should all be united together as one country against coronavirus?
You're exactly right, Laura. We've seen Democrats over and over again try to politicize this country in a time of crisis and attack our president as he's leading us through this crisis. The president's the one who took decisive action in January to cut off travel to China as Democrats were trying to impeach him. The president pushed through the CARES Act to get money to small businesses and people who are struggling in this economy. And Democrats held that up for over a week to try and get this wish list in of election reforms and corporate board reforms and things that had nothing to do with coronavirus. I think it's shameful, but our president is not going to let that get him down. He is laser focused on the American people. He doesn't care what party you're from. He just wants to make sure that we get our country healthy, safe, and back to work.
That is right. He is defending the American dream for every single American citizen. We want to make sure that we continue to see that happen. So when we look at the beginning stages of the COVID-19 outbreak, the president's decisive leadership and early actions, without a doubt, protected the health and safety of the American people. The president also enlisted the top healthcare companies in this country to furiously work on remedies and vaccines to defeat the invisible enemy. Dr. Carson, you are a physician by trade, and your company specializes in healthcare operations and population health. Why is it so important that we follow the president's guidelines for social distancing?
Well, first, I'll say the president's done a great job in terms of, like Ronna mentioned, restricting travel, bringing great, smart people together to create the task force and implementing several different programs. Social distancing is important. In epidemiology, you'll see it's about infection prevention and containment. We need to be able to contain the virus, and the only way to do that is to prevent spread.
Yeah, and the reason that I think the president has been so strong on this is because it's proven social distancing works. Some people that I think we all want to give a big shout out to, the frontline healthcare professionals. They're out there every day at the very front of this fight. They're incredible. The nurses, the doctors, the custodial staff at all of the hospitals around the country. President Trump has done, Dr. Carson, quite a bit to support them. What has he been doing to support our healthcare?
Well, I think he's done several different things, not just for healthcare professionals. I think it's across the country. The public-private partnerships where a lot of these companies and corporations are stepping up to create masks. I think we have like MyPillow, for instance, creating masks and ventilators. So that is a great thing because we need those supplies to get to the folks that need it, and those are the frontline workers in the hospital systems. I will say across the nation as well, Paycheck Protection Program, the $2 trillion stimulus program was incredible. It supports a lot of small businesses. It supports people that are out of work. And part of that program also supports surveillance data, which is very, very important because we need that data to better understand the coronavirus and the spread of it and who is, getting treated, how are they responding to it. So that's really important, and that's part of that stimulus package.
Yeah. All right, Chairwoman Cox, I want to turn to you very quickly. We've seen that the president has been constantly in contact with governors all across this country, making sure that every state has what they need. How has the president's response to the governors impacted states like Michigan?
The governors, like strong Democrat governors like Governor Cuomo or Governor Newsom, have been they appreciate all the strong leadership that the president has done to increase testing and supplies to their states. And unfortunately, we are not seeing that here in Michigan with Governor Whitmer. She is playing politics instead of really having strong leadership to protect the people of Michigan and working with the administration. So through all that, the president has done his job. Number one, to make sure he's protecting all the people across the country, and especially here in Michigan, putting aside the political rhetoric and focusing on making sure people are safe and strong. And so we want to make sure that we continue that all across our country, and we're so thankful for the president.
Chairwoman McDaniel, I want to bring you into this. You're also from Michigan. What do you think about Michigan Democrats' response here?
So we have a governor here who's running for vice president, and she has turned this crisis into a platform to run for vice president. In fact, we have all these businesses closed in Michigan, non-essential businesses found a way to get a t-shirt made for her vice president candidacy. So it's really been shameful. It's been hard to deal with because she's laying blame at the president's feet at a time where he is bringing help and aid to everyone in the country, bringing in the private sector, innovating, working as hard as he can. And she even went to Michiganders and said the president was being punitive and telling vendors not to work with our state because he didn't like her, which is so false. And it is another example of Democrats politicizing in a time of crisis, and it does a disservice to the people in our state and across the country. Let me be clear. The president doesn't care if it's a Democrat or Republican governor. He's working with everybody. It is all hands on deck. It is a whole of America approach, and he is doing everything he can to make sure we get through this virus and get our economy humming again.
Yeah, in fact, I think two of his biggest champions throughout this whole crisis have been Democrat governors, Governor Andrew Cuomo here in New York, and also we see Gavin Newsom out in California have had very positive things to say about the president. You know, they probably don't like saying them, but they've been saying them nonetheless and talking about how responsive he's been, how great his task force and administration have been to work with them. So great points there. All right, everybody sit tight. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk more about the campaign and how we are moving forward to help President Trump. Stay right there.
Ready to go?
This is a crisis.
This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia.
Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They're not bad folks.
Since the outbreak, the Communist Party has been mobilizing overseas organizations to buy local supplies and send them to China.
It is in our self-interest